I'm going to throw this one in because Steve already hit on it, and so did Yoli in that right there. But it says, any advice for single moms trying to raise boys in this culture?
One of the problems with our culture is that we've lost family, and a lot of people have lost church, and so they don't have the. And I hate the whole support group thing, and all of that stuff. But realistically, church and family were the support groups. The Bible in Titus chapter 2 talks about the older women teaching the younger women how to love their husbands and take care of their homes and love their children, and so there needs to be that. And if obviously I'm a guy, and if I was a single woman and I was in a situation where my kids were growing up without a dad, I would be plugging myself into the church in such a way that I can find a guy or get my kid involved with a group of guys that will be able to show him how to be a man. Because frankly, ladies, you don't know how to raise a man. It's there. There's all this stuff with girls where you've got a mindset that your little boy is foreign to you, and he does things that are strange to you, and you think that they're weird. And if my wife all the time would look, she'd look at me across the room when Nathan was doing something, and she was like, and I would be like, no, that's okay. That's what boys do. And my wife had a huge shock when she got married to me, because she had two sisters and that was it. Didn't have any boys in her family. And so here I am, a guy, and we think different and we do things different. And I know I'm painting with a broad brush, but your boy does not need to act like a woman. He does not need to be that way. We have the same problem in the school. We have lots of school teachers, and ours are pretty sensitive to the boys, but they want them to stop doing anything. And so little boys, there's snow out on the ground. So guess where the snow's going? There's going to be snowballs, and now it's turning into ice, and so there's going to be ice balls. And so there's going to be scraped heads and faces and things like that, and some of the teachers are going to be like, stop, don't. And there are times when it does need to stop, and then there are other times when boys are going to act like a boy. And so you need to, if I was a single mom, actually this is what I've done with single moms. A lot of times I become like a sounding board with them, and they come up and they're asking me exactly what my wife asked me. Is this normal? My little boy's doing this. And I'll just start laughing and go, yeah, absolutely normal. What did you do? And then they'll tell me what went on. And I say, I just go, well, try this. But what you want, if you don't have a husband, you got to, hopefully you have a dad. And dads are good guys.
Yep.
And, especially if they're in the Lord, even if they're not in the Lord, a lot of times dads are good guys. And so grandpa can come in that place, and family members are always better than guys who are on the outside. And if you don't have family members, and you ask God to provide for, somebody who can, come in and give you some counsel on that. And if I was raising a little girl and I was all alone, I would be doing exactly the same thing. I would be finding ladies. There would be things happening with my little girl that I would be like, okay, what's happening here? A little emotional, things are going on. But I had sisters, so I knew some of that stuff. But
to kind of add to what you're saying, Steve, is that we're in the midst of a culture where we have what we call political correctness and issues of gender identity. And it's totally fighting what is reasonable
and real.
Yeah. And not practical at all. And that's the side they land on.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what we have to fight as families and as Christians raising our kids, and especially single moms. That's the issue.
Yeah.
In today's society.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And so when I was raising my little girl, I want her to be a lady, and I want her to I want her to be a good wife, and I mean it in the biblical sense, a good wife. And I want you know, and she was a sporty girl too, and I want her to be good at sports, and I want her to be well-rounded. I don't want her to be the same as my son, because that's not going to happen, you know. I don't need her to, well, you know, my little girl likes to talk, and you know, it's one of her things, and so I don't need her to stop talking like me and Nathan. We, you know, you know, she gets to talk because, you know, that's who she is, and you know, so I don't need her to be Nathan, and I don't need Nathan to be Bethany, and they're different, and so vive la différence.
Apparently, yeah. I've never heard the French part yet.